Hey guys, welcome back to the Rockford Ordnance, and welcome back to Coffee and Kalashnikovs for October 3rd, 2023. Hope you guys are doing well. Give it a little bit of time for some people to pop in here. I see Orion Fixer is the first to make it in. He says, oh yeah, right? You can't believe I'm on, what, 2 weeks in a row? 3 weeks, is it now? I don't know. Wow. So some big decisions handed down by the courts today. We're going to be talking about that. And we're going to give you a little update on the Homestead project. And we're also going to take your questions and talk about what you guys want to talk about. So for anybody new here, Rockford Ordnance, we are a firearm channel. We review guns, accessories, all kinds of stuff. Anything having to do with the firearm collecting, history, shooting, sports, you name it, we do it. We even get into edged weapons a little bit, some knives, things like that. And we're going to be talking about another type of weapon here pretty quick. Bows, hunting bows in particular, because it is archery deer season here in the woods of Wisconsin. So wanted to go over that with you. Who else joined in here? Ross is here. Party time. I don't know about that. Maybe I should start drinking and do this. What do you think? Hey, all doing? Shabba dickish. No, you guys wouldn't like me. Well, maybe you would. You liked me for a while till I went over to Cliff. But, yeah, maybe a New Year's party. What do you think? But, like they say, firearms and alcohol never mix, right? Unless you're shooting beer cans, I guess. But, yeah, so who else is here? Joe, good to see you, my man. I am glad you're here. You're not late. You just got here. We just started. So, I think the motorhome's off level. My table is sliding back into storage position. Be like an escalator going by. Anyhow, Squeaky Cooler made it in, and Chase Kelly. We got all the usuals. We are ready to go. So great and some. So he ruled in their favor. There is an injunction in place now, and some may say, well, it's not really news. You know, they had ruled that any member of Firearm Policy Coalition's membership was part of the injunction and could not be prosecuted or had this law used against them until the entire case was gone through and ruled on and over with, essentially. So there were some contingencies to that originally. Had to be members by such and such a date. Well, today he ruled all members of the Firearm Policy Coalition are part of that injunction. That would include me. So, and hopefully many of you. And if you aren't, I would probably go and join real quick. It's inexpensive, and hey, it's something, right? He stopped short of doing a national injunction, which, well, you know, how's that? We'd like to see it, but I guess you got to grow a set to rule in that direction, and nobody seems to want to. However, this ruling and his statements and what he put in it are going to have far-reaching ramifications with the NFA. There's even a part where he said it was about short barrel rifles. I'm not reading it verbatim. I'm just kind of summarizing here. So if you really want to know, go read the case. But essentially, he stated that short barrel rifles, whether they be with a brace or a stock, should not be prosecuted, etc. So that's the first time we've heard that. Now, one could read into it and say he was talking about a brace being used as a stock, but he said brace and stock. So it's interesting. Go in and read it, see what you think. And it's quite interesting. There is just a ton of commentary from the judge that is going to have far-reaching ramifications as far as the NFA goes. And I think we're getting ever closer to seeing that fall. In any case, it was a great ruling. Of course, it's going to be fought, and this thing's going to go all the way. By all the way, I mean the Supreme Court. But yeah, it's it's a great thing. And as of right now, if you have a braced pistol and you are a member of the Firearms Policy Coalition, you are safe. Something else interesting. They actually quoted the numbers of people that registered under this. As we know, the final rule said that they had to be either registered after 120 days, destroyed, braces taken off, barrel changed, whatever. There were a bunch of options, right? And one of those was registering. Well, 8% of the estimated amount of braces out there, I believe on the high end too, 8% were what registered them. Now, you may say, well, that sounds kind of high. If they're talking, what, 40 million, something like that, 8%, yeah, it's a big number. But as far as a percentage goes, that's a tiny number, guys. So there's 92% of the people that said, I will not comply. So that's encouraging. It says to me that Americans still have a backbone, and when tyrants, lawmakers, etc., exceed or cross that line, Americans say, nope, not going to do it. Enough's enough, right? So it's good to hear. It's good to hear. All in all, I think, I don't comment on individual rulings much and stuff like that, but this was kind of a big one. I was waiting for it, and it made for a good day today, or a good start to my day. So that was cool. What do you guys think? What do you guys think of it? I'm sure you guys registered all of them, right? Right? Or perhaps maybe you just turned them in or destroyed them. I wonder if somebody did. Imagine that. You're looking at I don't know, some beautiful braced pistol you have. I'm not talking like, a Scorpion or something like that, but maybe like an MP5, like an HK or something. And you looked at it and you said, well, I'm a rule follower, and, if that's the way my government says I need to go, well, then. And you took the torch to it, or the sledgehammer, or put it through a crusher, or whatever, sawed it in half. I don't know. I can't imagine it. But there's at least a couple people out there that might have done something like that. It's crazy, isn't it? Crazy to think. Of course, we believe that we are strict constitutionalists, and when interpreting the Second Amendment, we don't believe there really is an interpretation. We believe that it is what it is, that our right to bear arms shall not be infringed, pure and simple. And by infringe, we mean, what does infringe mean? The tiniest little bit. You can't touch it. You can't go near it. There's nothing you can do to even remotely thwart that right. You can't do anything, not the tiniest little bit. And that's how we interpret it. So in essence, as many of you I'm sure believe, all gun laws are unconstitutional on their face. It's the most clear and concise amendment there is. Maybe next to the right to free speech, but what good's that if you don't have the tools to keep someone from taking that away, right? Anyhow, I thought it was a great day. So let us know what you think in the comments here. Let's see what we got here in the comments, by the way. By the way, guys, thanks for showing up, and I hope you enjoy these little get-togethers we have here. And of course, we're here to answer your questions, talk about what you want to talk about. Keep in mind, cost money to keep a channel going. So if you like, down there at the bottom, if you want to add a super chat, you can donate any amount of money to the channel, and it's always used toward the channel to bring you cool stuff, cool videos, cool things, and any bit would be appreciated. So enough said. Thank you all very much. Let's see. Chase, Wheel of Doom. Now you're back. Same here. Who else? Joe, I've lost hopes in courts. Ever doing right thing at this point. Maybe one day. I'm not getting excited yet. Well, you know what I'm excited about, Joe? We've heard the ruling before, right? And we've heard the beginnings of having a brain fart. We've heard the beginnings of these injunctions, and then they're shot down the next day by another court and whatnot. But what I'm excited about is how it was worded and just how he went after everything the ATF, the government, and other organizations are doing and weaponizing some of these. What's the term I'm looking for? Essentially weaponizing and using these organizations, these alphabet soup agencies, to create de facto laws. And it was refreshing to hear just how it was worded. If you haven't seen any other videos or read it yourself, I urge you to go do it because it was great. And it just shows we are moving in the right direction. It will be shot down. There was some other bit of news out of Illinois today regarding, silencers, NFA items. There are a no-go on a state level, and they're trying to shoot that down. And so there's a lot of good things happening. All the news out of California, old Newsom, our little buddy out there, just keeps getting more sand kicked in his face. But that won't stop him from running for office. Anyhow, so you ask, well, Rock, what were you up to all week? Oh, boy, we had a lot. So you saw the video, and we talked. I'm sorry, my camera's wagging the dog here, and it's probably annoying a lot of you. I'm going to try to get a little more stable here. You may have said, well, what have you been doing all week? And you may have seen my video on the homestead and all. And week after week after week after week, I said, this is the week we're going to have a driveway. We're going to this, we're going to that. Well, yesterday they dropped off the equipment, full-size backhoe, skid steer, all the obligatory trucks and trailers and whatnot. And they were going to possibly start a little work yesterday, but today they went at full force. And when I showed up just after 1 o'clock today, there was a bunch of dirt moved and some rock laid down, and it's going in. So I shot some video coverage today, and we'll bring it to you. But essentially, we got to go 2,600 feet, and I think he got in 400 feet today, something like that. And it's that big rock that stuff like this, you'll see in the video, they're hand size. They had to go down. He scraped down about 10 inches, maybe a foot. And I was hoping it would look like it did over on the neighbors when they did theirs. And the section they did was all like sand and gravel. And when they got that first 400 feet, they went 10, 12 inches down and are barely getting some clay. It was all topsoil. From a farming aspect, that's good. But from the aspect of not having all this rock I pay for sink down to oblivion, it's not the best. And we got to add more rock and all. So I'm hoping we stay on budget here. But it's a nail biter right now because this is an expensive part. So they dug down about 12 inches and we're putting the spoils off to the side. Essentially, there's a big berm following it all the way down. And then they're laying 6 to 8 inches of that big stone and then 4 inches of the 1-2 inch stuff. And then once everything's done in the spring, they'll come back and put a final layer over it to dress it all. So about 400 feet is done with rock, and they got 6 truckloads in already. And they got a bunch more scraped, and he should be done Friday, maybe Saturday. He said he may work the weekend. And we should be done with the 8-inch base, all scraping everything off the 8-inch base layer and essentially smoothing out the spoils. And as soon as that is done, the electric company comes in and trenches and drops our line all the way back. We've got a post in that shows them where the transformer is going to go. And yeah, another huge chunk of money. Will be a solid $100,000 in just with the road and the electric coming back. So something to think about when you're doing a rural property and you don't want to put it up by the road. You know, they're charging $12 plus a foot to trench and drop the line. Now they have to trench down 4.5 feet. I don't know if it's a Wisconsin thing, the frost, colder, you know, they got to go deeper, but that's expensive. The initial estimate was $6, half of that. So it magically doubled. And that's aluminum cable, by the way, not copper. I don't have a choice in it, I guess, from what they tell me. But yeah, $3,000 for a pedestal, another $3,000 for a transformer. And then I can't run from the house to the barn myself because it's too far and the voltage drop would be too big, they're telling me. They do credit me $1,800 a meter, though, and I'm going to have 2 meters, so that'll be $3,600 back to me. Whoopee. It's about a tenth of the cost of the rock. Anyhow, it was very good to see the project moving along. To pull up and see trucks and things digging and working and stone going in. Finally, it's there. It's started. So 2 weeks till we have electric back there. And then a week after that, things should kick into gear and they should start digging the foundation. And yeah, we're rolling. And once that's in, then everything starts falling into place. Also had a landscaper out there today who's doing the tree clearing for the space the house is on back in the woods. There's a ton of mature oaks there. He aged a couple of them at over 150 years old. And we actually moved the house almost 25 feet over just to save a couple of these huge ones that'll be on the side of the house, kind of framing it. And they're gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. And then we have an absolute ton of hickory trees. 80 feet high. I don't know, straight, probably yay big around. And he's saving those. We're going to save as much as we can. We're only clearing the footprint of the house and then straight back down the hill until, because it drops off pretty good, until our line of sight from the main level allows us to see the whole valley. So I may even save some toward the back so the deer have a continuous path across it, still be in the woods. I'm trying to not disrupt or disrupt as little as possible for the wildlife. When I walk there, all this is going on today, right? Trucks, backhoes running. There's side-by-sides running back and forth. My pickup truck, full-on construction site. And I get to the back corner, and there's 40 turkeys back there. 20 of them go in the woods this way, 20 go into the little clearing we have where they did the perk test. Turkeys all over the place. And we're still getting deer on the cams, which is good. And one of my target bucks is still coming in. Speaking of that, we talked about bows. So I found out that I couldn't get to my bow. It's in storage, and there's about 4 hours worth of moving furniture just to get back to it. So that was a no-go. So I was debating what to do, and I went and bought a bow. And, you know, there's a lot of good stuff out there today. And you've got Matthews, you've got Hoyt, you've got Diamond. Is it Diamondback or Diamond? You've got, there's even a couple new ones out there that are big names, but I haven't heard of them really because I've been out of it for about 10, 15 years. Anyhow, I've had bears all along, and yeah, there's entry-level bows at some point. They make a nice mid-range bow, and they make some nice flagship models too. They're all made in the USA, Gainesville, Florida. And I don't know, I always like the Fred Bear story. And while there may be a little bit higher technology out there, I've shot bows since the infancy of compounds. And like a lot of you probably, I started with a Bear whitetail hunter, the original one. And back in the day, if you had one, you might remember there were extra pulleys and cables going everywhere. You could adjust draw length and poundage by moving these arms that had a pulley on them. And they were loud and made all kinds of noise, but they were inexpensive, and it was great to learn on because you could raise the poundage and all that as you got bigger, older, stronger, whatever. And they killed deer. I killed a lot of deer with it. And then they came out with a Whitetail 2, and that was more of a modern compound. It had cams or elliptical wheels, and more of a what you'd think of a compound today. Matter of fact, I have it here somewhere. I have all my bows except the original Whitetail 2, or Whitetail, the original Whitetail. And I'd like to find one the same year I had because of the color and all. But anyways, I still have the Whitetail 2, and it still had some accessories on it back from college. And my wife said, "Oh, don't spend any money you're buying. It's redundant, and just wait till next year." And I said, well, all the building going on, these bucks are undisturbed. This year could be the best hunting ever, and it might never be this good again. I really want to get out there and give me something to do too. I'm cooped up in this motorhome, and I really wanted a bow. So my birthday's coming up, and I went looking around and doing some research, and Bear sells some really good entry to mid-level bows that come, they call it RTH, ready to hunt. So it comes with a sight, arrow rest, peep sights, D-ring, all the stuff you need to literally go out and hunt. Get some arrows, go hunt. So I was looking at those, and I had purchased the bow I currently have. I had purchased, I can't remember the name of it, Core or something like that, about 10 years ago, 12 years ago. Seems like yesterday. And it's a modern bow with a cam and everything. And I love it. If I could have gotten to it, I wouldn't have replaced it. But anyhow, I started doing some research, and I settled on a Bear Alaskan. And that didn't have the ready to hunt package, but I had a sight and stuff off my other bow, and I thought it's good enough. I'll use that for now, and I'll just buy a little better bow rather than a cheaper bow with the package. And the reason I wanted the Alaskan is it had a throwback color scheme to it, a Fred Bear throwback. If any of you know, Fred Bear used that camo that looked like the World War II Marines camo, sort of with the cloud-looking camouflage, green, tan, brown, whatever. Looked like 60s, 70s kind of camo, you know. And it was just cool. And it had a OD green riser rack. And the one with that camo was a Whitetail Hunter. But the new one, it's in this case right here. But I don't know if I can show bows on the camera on live stream, so I'm not going to. I probably can, but I'm not going to. But it's a whitetail. What the hell is it? Hold on. A whitetail legend. So their upper end bows are called their Legend series, and their flagship bows, there's two of them, a 30-inch and a 32-inch draw. And these have the exact cams that their flagship bows have. Just instead of a billet riser, it's a cast riser. It has aluminum pockets, all the good stuff, and the best cams that Bear makes. And it comes in a lot less because their flagship bow is, they go $1,200 to $1,500. When compared to like Matthews, Hoyt, all of those, they're a bit less. Then Matthews and Hoyt and all those can get way up there, way up there. And are they better bows? I'm sure they're smoother and all that. If I shot one back to back, I'm sure I'd notice a difference. But as I moved up, this is my fourth Bear bow, and over, God, 40 years of bow hunting. So about one every 10 years. And it's funny, they've all been Bear. 3 of them have been in the whitetail series, and one was this other one. I can't remember. So I have 3 of the 4 bows that I've had over the years. And it's a 70-pound bow. They're, I forget what the cams are called. There's a K in there. K, I don't know. Whatever. Huge cams. I mean, huge. And you don't need a bow press to adjust them. There's like an inner cam that you can adjust draw length, and I can also adjust poundage, draw length. It's 55 pounds to 70 pounds. I have it right now set at about 60, just because it's been 12 years since drawing a bow, and those muscles you gotta, work them into place and get them moving again. But we'll move it up to 70 probably a few weeks from now. I've put a couple hundred shots through it, and I bought it from a pro shop, and the guy set it up all real nice. Did the knock the D-ring, made sure the cams were timed properly. It has a string stop when so you're at full draw, and it's not one of those mushy ones. There's a tiny bit of give, but it's pretty hard stop. And you can buy cable stops for it and put those on the cams if you like a firm back wall. But had the arrows cut to length and everything. I said, go try that out. I shot. Boom. Yeah, it's right on. He says, all right, move back to 20, right on. And he adjusted my peep. He said, go shoot. Well, the first group of 6 arrows I shot, I could put my fingers around them like that. And I hadn't shot in 12 years. And today, again, my wife was out there, and I shot 6. And I said, look, there was one flyer, and the rest were so tight. I grabbed them, I tried pulling them all out. They wouldn't all come. I had to pull them a couple at a time, but I couldn't believe maybe one of the tightest groups I've ever shot. And that's what a different style release. I normally shoot the T-handled style release, the thumb trigger. And I went to a wrist strap index release. So different anchor point and everything. Still very similar. I may go back to, I didn't want to spend the money for the thumb release because they're very expensive, and I have a good one. It's in storage. So I didn't want to spend a lot. So I just got one of these. And hey, 20 yards, I'm grouping them in $50, right? And even at 30 yards, I was plunking them in there, probably a 2-3 inch group. On a bow I've barely shot at, let's see, where does it start at? I can adjust it at 75% let off, 80% let off, 85% let off, and 90% let off. That's crazy. I mean, think about that, guys. 90% let off on a 70-pound bow. Yeah. you're holding like 7 pounds, and it's less than that. Um, I drew it back. He set it at 90, and he told me, "Be careful." And he hands it to me. He said, "It almost feels like you have to push it forward, but as you're pushing forward, all of a sudden, wham! You know." And I actually slipped, completely come down. You know, I slowed it down. It gave it a pretty good hammer. We took it down to 80 or 85. I forget what it's at right now, but it's like holding nothing even at that. You're holding, I think even at 85, I think he checked it. It was like 7 pounds I'm holding or something. It's crazy. You could sit there all day. The old days of you draw on a deer and maybe he's behind a tree or he makes a step before you can line your pins up. And now he's blocked, and typically you'd let the arrow down and wait. Yeah, I could sit there for 20 minutes. I mean, it's ridiculous. And as it goes forward on the 90% let off, you almost think the cables are going to come off the wheels, like they're going to go up, and that would be terrible. But incredible with every evolution of bow that I've gotten. When I think how much better could it get, and then it gets just incredible. So I can only imagine on some of these top end Matthews and Hoyt and all of that, how good they are. Just crazy. So got a trophy ridge sight on it with 5 pins, lighted, incredible. Does everything I needed to. I'm very simple, guys. I used to hunt 1 pin, set it 20 yards, and I would either hold under, hold over. The old style steel. Let me see if I have it here. I had it here the other day. What are they do with it? Let me see if I got it here. Hold on. Here it is. Remember these? Remember these guys? That was on my my whitetail too, and there it is. I still got the 1 pin that I shot with it. That's still set at 20 yards, and I had that on it. A quiver. Regular old rest, the stick-on rest that had a plunger coming in from the side, and some yarn puff balls. And did I have anything else on there? I don't even think I ran a stabilizer, or I did run an old stabilizer off my original whitetail, about an 8-incher, just plain steel, you know. And that's all I ran. Very minimal. I shot for the longest time, even on that whitetail, on both my whitetail and my whitetail 2. Wasn't until the last one, that core or whatever the hell it was, that I went to a release. And so I'm kind of minimalist when it comes to that. And these bows get so good. I can't even imagine what some of these flagships are. And by that same token, I don't know why I would need all that, you know. That whitetail 2 that maybe I paid $150 for back then, maybe, has killed, I don't even know, 8, 9, 10 deer. I mean, it's crazy. $2,000 bows, $500 sights, this, that, the other. Okay, if it's your main hobby and you love it, I guess people say the same thing about guns, right? They look at us like we're crazy. But anyhow, it's a super nice, great looking setup. Comfortable. I don't know what I'm going to do for broadheads, because in my day we didn't have mechanical broadheads. Now I have that choice. I used to shoot thunderheads. I used to shoot these Bear. Originally, I shot these Bear, made by Bear, whatever their heads were. They were fixed blade, big 2 blades, but they had an extra blade you put through the middle of the head, and it clipped in, so it had like these little short blades toward the base of the broadhead, but they were fixed blade broadheads, pretty solid, nice. And then I went to thunderheads, and I really like those. I'm debating between fixed and mechanical. There's some pretty good mechanicals out there. I like the ones that open at the rear, not the ones that fold out from the front. That to me seems like you're asking for trouble. At least if they open, like if this is the point, if they open the rear opening, I think that'd be more reliable. And I've been listening to some people that, while they work quite a bit, they've had a lot of instances where if the deer wasn't standing exactly sideways to them, that the arrow would go in, move really on a severe angle, and never open up. And they were tracking the deer the next day. And I don't know, I've never had that problem. I'd hit them with a regular old fixed broadhead and track them anywhere from 40 yards, maybe. I think I had a couple 120, 150 yards, maybe. Never lost one. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know if there's any bow hunters here, but let me know what you think of fixed or mechanical. And if you got a bow, tell us what you got and why you like it so much. But anyways, as everybody was leaving the property today after finishing up what they had to do, I threw out a target and I was shooting. My builder's walking back and forth, putting stakes in, and I'm shooting thwack. And at one point, he was behind the truck. I knew he was there. And I'm like, should I shoot? I know he's not going to walk out, but I didn't. I held it back. But I think the first arrow that hit the target, I think about 5 guys were, what the hell? And then when they were driving out, they saw the group in the target. I don't know, whatever. But I think a lot of these guys probably never saw a bow in their life. But anyways, it was fun to get out there and do some shooting. I got my stand ready, cameras on it. I'm seeing that big shooter buck that I want to take at that site a couple times in the daylight, mostly at night. So we'll see. But I don't feel I'm quite ready yet. I want to we'll go through the end of the week here practicing. And then maybe Saturday, Sunday, we'll actually do some hunting here and see what we can come up with. I really wanted to get in the stand before all the noise from this work started, because I'm sure it's going to throw them off a bit. But there's plenty of deer to go around, and I don't think it's going to mess them up that bad. So we'll see. But I'm looking forward to it. A little more shooting. I can do it now. I got to go back to the bow shop. He's going to check the cable timing one more time after, getting the string broke in and the cable settled and everything. Gonna do one more once over. I shot out to 50 yards today, plunked them all in. I'm shooting on a bag target that's, I'd say 2 feet by 2 feet. And all the way out to 50, didn't miss an arrow in it. Thank God. I didn't want to lose, break, bend, worm burner, an arrow or something. But they all hit. 50 things widened out a bit, probably 12-inch group, somewhere in there. But out to 40, it was pretty much the biggest group I had was 5-6 inches maybe. And other than that, they were anything out to 30 was under a 2-inch group. And at 40, I had that one that was like 6-inch group. All plenty good to take down what I'm shooting at. And I think the furthest shot I'll have from this stand is probably 10 yards. And most likely it's going to be straight down, looking down on him with him maybe 5-10 yards out. So it's not that I can't do it. It's just build my muscles. I never want to make a bad shot and injure deer. So that's where we're at. I'm excited. It's cool. We'll bring a video on the bow and the setup and show you. I love the nostalgia of the throwback finish and all. It's very cool. Let's see what you guys have to say. The whole mess is unenforceable. I agree, Joe. Hey, how about they threw out our Speaker of the House today, huh? And the Democrats are loving that one, boy. Nothing's ever good. I'm guessing most of us probably belong to GOA and or FPC already. If not, it's definitely a good idea to join them. They are fighting for our rights. Yes. Go join them. Because you will be injuncted, or they will be injuncted, or however you'll be okay. Nobody's going to come after you for a braced pistol, supposedly, but who knows? I'm not going to worry about it. It is what it is. Let's see. Oh, yeah, we had some more news, too. The Feinstein, what should I call it? Celebration? I don't know. It's never nice to celebrate someone else's loss or just loss of life in general, right? Well, then please don't take this as me sympathizing. You know, there's tons of guys out there. Oh, tyrants get what they got coming and this and that. At the end of the day, people have families. People have loved ones. She was someone's mother, grandmother, whatever. Although I despise the woman, I'm never going to take that away from her family, because I'm sure, just as we're probably different people outside of work, maybe she was, or at least I hope she was. Oh, my wife, I thought she was talking to me. She's having a conversation. Yeah, I don't like to wish ill will on anyone. And while I'm glad that the matriarch of the assault weapon ban is gone, a little fearful of who Slick Willie out there is going to replace her with. But yeah, it was kind of some good news, I guess. Like I said, I despise her. I despise everything she stood for. And she probably, well, she would take every one of us, put us in jail, and put us in front of a firing squad and not think twice about it. I fully am positive that would happen if she had her way. But, hey, if you are a Christian or any type of good person, you don't want to wish ill will. But karma's a bitch, and we all have our judgment day, don't we? So there's that. And I'll say that with a smile. So, yeah, the world's a better place today. Let's see. Squeaky belongs to both. Good for you. Support them. They're both great organizations. You know what? It's such a shame. I would love to support the NRA, but I just can't. It's a shame just what's happened. But there's so many good organizations out there. Gun Owners of America, Firearms Policy Coalition, all these groups that are fighting for our rights and actually doing the right thing and going after them and after them hard. It's actually very refreshing. Joe says, I enjoyed Feinstein's return address switching to hell. That was my good day. Every dog has his day eventually. Yeah, they could only play Weekend at Bernie's for so long, right? Yeah, you wonder what her staff, voting for her. Amazing. We are certain people exempt, but not everyone. Correct. Why are certain people exempt, but not everyone? Isn't that rather unfair? We're all citizens here. I agree with you. But these courts or these judges, they just don't want to pull that trigger for some reason. I don't know why, but go join FPC and be safe. That's all. I spent the last 2 weeks hobbling around with a cane and cleaning up after scumbag landlords. Bad plumbing flooded our apartment and ruined our floor. And so, Joe, man, you can't do it. If you had any luck at all, it's shit luck, I guess, huh? Well, if it don't kill you, it makes you stronger, right? Never put dry goods in cabinet in your sink. Nope. Not been fun few weeks. Really good at least. Bows are new to me. Never did hunting stuff. started hunting 12, 13, and deer hunted with a rifle a lot of years before I found bow hunting, and I really, really enjoyed it. I told you guys about the gentleman I met at the bow range and how he changed my life. I ended the last week's talk about that, and I urged you guys to go out and change somebody's life just like he did. Introduce them to the range, take them shooting, do that kind of thing. You never know what comes of it. I think that guy, whatever he saw in me and helped me out, because I was just a broke punk kid, I wouldn't be doing this show today. I probably wouldn't be collecting guns. I certainly wouldn't have my love of the outdoors as much. Probably wouldn't be thinking about living in a rural area like I do, and farming and all this other crap goes along with it. Life would be totally different, and I couldn't imagine being any different than it is now. I love what I'm doing, and my family, my wife, and all of us doing it together. It's just a great thing, and I couldn't imagine. He saw something, so I urge you, go do the same thing for a kid or somebody else. Introduce them to something. But once I was introduced to bow hunting and frankly just target shooting, I just loved it. And I went hog wild for many, many years, all through college. Just that's all I did was bow hunt, bow hunt, bow hunt. Never gave up rifle hunting, but I certainly enjoy bow hunting much more than I do rifle hunting. First of all, I think it's much more challenging. I think it's true hunting. I hate to say, well, yeah, it's fairer chase. It is fairer chase. It puts you more on that level. But I hate people that say, oh, you go out and slaughter the innocent little deer. Well, let me tell you something. If anyone that's ever hunted will tell you, those whitetail have an advantage over you in the woods. Several advantages, and are way smarter, better than you ever will be in the woods. So it's by no means like shooting fish in a barrel. It's very, very hard. Does Wisconsin allow crossbow hunting, Rock? Yes, they do. And if I could afford it right now, I would love one of those Raven bows. Those things are cool. A friend of mine has a couple of them, and we were at a gun shop one day and they had those. He said, oh, this is what I got, and he showed it to me. And they got like electric silent cocking and all this stuff. And I'm never one to rain on somebody's party and say, oh, well, they shouldn't allow those or whatever, because I look at those people that say there shouldn't be any crossbow hunting. It should be only for handicap. They should have a special season, this and that. They shouldn't be allowed to hunt during regular bow season. It's almost like a jealousy thing or something, like, or a selfishness. Like, oh, they might get my deer, and somehow it's easy. They got it easy. They just got to let them bow. Yeah. Come on, guys. It's still the same thing. Yeah, sure. Can they take a deer at 100 yards? Supposedly. I'm sure it's pretty damn. I know it's easy to precision hit a target at 60 yards with one of those things. I've shot them. They're incredible. But that's why I like regular bow hunting. Years ago, what they call trad hunters or traditional bow hunters, they said the same thing about compounds. Now, how many people shoot a recurve, or how many people shoot a longbow? 1%, maybe. I don't know. I have a longbow. I don't have a recurve, but I have a longbow, a PSE. I've shot it a few times. That's work, boy. Let me tell you, there ain't no pulling that bow back and anchoring. It's you pull and release when it hits that spot. Boom. And no sights, felt rest, and turkey feather fletched arrows, and it's fun. I've only target shot with it. I haven't hunted with it, but I certainly could. But you want to talk about real hunting? Yeah, that's real hunting. And but I have nothing against crossbows. I like it all, right? It's like we're an AK channel, but we love ARs, we love shotguns, we love milsurps, we love everything. That being said, you guys can only imagine how bad I'm itching to get out and just go shooting. I mean, I haven't packed up the truck and went to the range and maybe 3 times this year where I really had a big range day or something. Just the building and everything that's been going on has dampened it because everything's in storage and everything's so hard. You say, well, you got access to the property now. We should be seeing all these videos. I don't want to disrupt this deer season. When I say this is a special place with special once in a lifetime opportunities for extremely nice deer, I'm not kidding. And I want to take advantage of it, enjoy it as much as I can, because it's only in this virgin state once. And frankly, it's a shame. Yeah. If I had to do it over again, I'd probably build the house up by the road and just leave everything the way it is. These deer have been under zero pressure for years and years and years, and you just don't see that anymore. Yeah, there were a few hunting stands back there, but there was nothing pressuring these deer for miles around. And I almost feel bad building this house and disrupting this property. I really do. I don't know how to put it. I hope you guys can understand how I'm feeling about it, because well, it's not like wilderness or anything, but it's just good old school farmland that has this feel about it. So we had this guy out there that is going to clear the footprint of the house, all the trees and everything. We've got tons of huge oaks that are going to be down the right side of the house, and we actually moved the house over 25 feet so as to not disturb the root system on the 2 closest ones. But there's this huge patch of oaks on this little peninsula before it drops off on all sides down into the forest deeper. And the guy there said, he says, that oak tree right there is a solid 150 years old. And me and my wife were just talking about it before we went online. And I got to thinking, well, 150 years old, 100 years is 1923, and throw another 50. We're talking 1873, roughly. And it could be older. 1873, this little oak tree popped up and sprouted a leaf like the Charlie Brown tree, right? 1873. Think about what was going on in this country in 1873. Well, if you were out there, you were probably carrying a Winchester rifle, lever action, with a Colt on your side, or maybe a Remington or a Smith & Wesson, right? There were legit Indians running around, and cowboys too, and cavalry and all that good stuff. When was Jesse James running around? That was a little later, right? 10, 20 years later, maybe. But yeah, Wisconsin had, settlers and all that. But you weren't all that too far from the fringe, you know what I mean? It was a different place. And to think that tree's there, and we have all these beautiful hickories too, and we're going to save them all. I don't know if I can find a buyer for them or even how to go about it. I was in the wood. I bought and sold wood, but it was industrial wood. I suppose I could call a couple sawmills, see what they'll give you for it, but who knows? They probably want to rob it from you. But we're going to cut into 10 or 12 foot sections and stack it, and I'll see if it works. We'll cut it up and use it for bonfires and maybe smoking meats, right? Hickory smoke. Or maybe I can make some nice projects out of a few hunks of it, some knife scales or handles, or axe handles. And hickory is a super hard wood, right? And there's a lot of scrub cherry, buckthorn, stuff like that in certain parts of it. But we are leaving anything over 4 inches right now, we're leaving. And then we'll make a decision. If it's in the footprint of the house, obviously it goes. But we're what we cut. We're going to leave as much as possible. And yeah, driveway going down, a lane of grass on both sides, and the one side is going to be all flame maple trees every 40 feet or 50 feet, which the guy kind of threw a real quick estimate out to me today, and I almost fell over. Driveway electric is more than my first house, and the trees are probably half of my first house. It's just insane. It's absolutely insane. I can't even believe the figures that get thrown around. I can't even fathom it. I don't know. Maybe I'm just getting old, but everything's expensive these days. Anyhow, along that tree line is where I'm going to put it's not going to be used all that often, and not by many other people other than me. Certainly no more than me and one other at a time when we're doing this, but I should be able to shoot 500 to 700 yards along there. So I'm going to make sure there's room for that. And depending on the topography and how it goes, I'm either going to build a bench or maybe build a bench into the ground where you're in a pit, sort of, so it doesn't stand out from the road, and you can be down in this thing kind of level with the ground shooting. Also make a good foxhole should I ever need it out toward the perimeter, huh? Anyways, that's my thoughts. I'm just kicking around all kinds of crazy stuff. But hey, if you can do it while you're building it and all, why not do it, right? Let's see. So yeah, Joe, bows, you could get into bow hunting for a couple $100. For sure, get a ready to hunt package at probably $299 with everything. That would do just fine. And you can target shoot for less, or go on Facebook Marketplace or something and find a used bow for $100. It's a ton of fun. It's a ton of fun. Start cheap and see if you like it. You know, I just fell in love with it. The thing is amazing. Oh, the crossbow. Squeaky says he's got an older crossbow that I've been using. It's an older Striker Strike Zone 380 made by Bowtech. Bowtech makes some nice stuff. I've seen this brand Fleet Farm sells called 10 Point. I've seen guys shooting them. They seem fine. I mean, they're not a Raven. A Raven's top of the line, and even then, those go up to like $1,500, $2,000. That's a lot of money. Yeah. If it was a gun, I wouldn't say that, but for a bow, you know, I don't know. I like shooting my compound for now, but yeah, these new crossbows, I mean, they got, 3-power, just variable optics and everything, and shoot them just like a gun. I hear take a deer at 100 yards like nothing. So pretty cool. Pretty cool. Let's see. Ross, one thing is for sure, Diane will still vote Democrat next year. Yes, sir. Archiel is here. Archiel, I don't know how to pronounce it, but he's good. Good to have you. So, yeah, we got the pistol race thing, got the injunction. We're going to win that, guys. It's just going to take a little time. So that's cool. We got rid of Feinstein. Illinois is fighting the suppressor thing, which will have far-reaching consequences for the NFA. There's a lot going against the NFA right now, and I don't think it's tomorrow, next month, 6 months from now, but the NFA is in trouble. Just know that. I hope you guys can hear me okay. I had the mic all the way to the side there. But I think the NFA is definitely in trouble. Yes, my dear. Hold on, guys. One sec. What can I do for you? You want to be on camera?
No.
You sure?
Yeah.
She's looking good, guys. It was in the bathroom there. Anyhow, sorry, small quarters, you know what I mean? So yeah, we'll get the electric back there. Should be about 2 to 3 weeks out on the electric. And then it's about getting the barn up. But we're 1 day in and I'm 10,000 over budget already. There's other pending things that seem to be leading us in that direction already. And the barn may have to be put on hold for a little bit here while I recoup a little. But the barn is where I plan on putting our motorhome, because where we're staying now, they're being kicked out of here in 12 days. It's closed for the season, October 15th. So we will be homeless people. Homeless. Trio. Let's see. Oh, here comes. This is like living the John Belushi movie, Chicago. Blues Brothers. Listen to the train. Can you guys hear it? Nice campground, right? This thing comes whistling by now, and at about 2 or 3 a.m. you get to hear the horns going off. It's 50 feet from me. I can see it through my screen door here. Yeah, lovely. Quiet, peace and quiet. It's called, I can't tell you what the name of the campground is, but let's just say it. You don't envision trains going by when you hear the name. That being said, my table's moving again. Yeah, 12 days and we got to be out of here. Hopefully we have electric there by that time, but pole building may be a ways off. So, the best laid plans, how they say, they're not going my way. So who knows? We may be toughing it out in the blowing snow for the winter, battening down the hatches. But as soon as deer season's over, then comes all the range fun. So you guys will stay tuned for that, because that's when we'll get back to shooting, because it's right outside my back door at that point. And lots more videos to come. I'm going to bring you a video on the bow and even some of the old attachments, because like the quiver, they still make the exact same quiver. I've had this quiver 20 plus years. They still make it, and different things. So we'll bring it to you, show it to you. We'll take you out to the stand. If I can figure out a way to mount a camera, maybe we'll even get some hunting on tape. We'll see. I'd like to get the whole hunt on there, including, taking down the deer and the whole 9 yards, but we'll see if I'm that lucky. I don't know. We will see. Got a couple of other reviews coming to tabletop kind of stuff. We're going to bring you firearms, so you'll be surprised at that. Some cool stuff. And yeah, what have you guys been doing, man? Come on, where's all these comments? You guys are dry tonight. Maybe unless I missed a bunch of them. Let's see. Make sure I didn't miss anything. Sorry to hear about your apartment, Joe. Just landlord having pipes burst or something, I assume, and ruining a bunch of your crap. Hopefully none of your firearms turned into rusty heaps. That would suck. So the Bowtech's amazing, huh? I wonder how old is that thing, and what are the feet per second on it? I can't believe I don't have any bow hunters here. Anyways, we are going to rifle hunt too, and I'm going to rifle hunt. I think maybe, I don't know if I'm going to bring the 45 Colt or the 30-30. We'll see. One of the two. If I'm hunting from my grassy knoll overlooking the backfield, I may hunt with, I've been thinking about that. What do you guys think about hunting with the AR-10? Obviously, I'll have to get like a 5-round mag or whatever for it. But I think, God, that'd be a perfect gun back there. As would my Savage 308. That's a heavy barrel, but if I'm in a stand, who cares? Put it on the bipod. I don't mess with that baby. That'll be awesome. After your bow hunt on camera, you'll have to do one during rifle season with them. I was thinking about that. I was thinking about a Mosin. Could you imagine? Let's see. I gotta say that field, assuming the deer's on my property, which I'm not going to shoot a deer over my property line, because I'm pretty sure the one guy's hunting on the one side. I'm just not that kind of person, unlike my one neighbor right now. But I'd say it's got to be at the most a 300-yard shot. And I know I can hit, I think I've shot like 150 with the Mosin, maybe. 100 I can hit with, easy, iron sights. Past that, I don't know that my eyes are good enough. But yeah, either the AR-10, it's a great deer round, is 7.62 by 39. Maybe the Krebs gun with a 5-round mag, or my NPAP with the 3x prism scope. That'd be a great gun out there. And 7.62 by 39, you get some good soft points, some Wolf soft points, or I'll load my own. That'd be a nice deer gun out there. Yeah, the Krebs with the 1x6 variable, that would be nice out there. Be a great gun. 7.62 by 39 has very similar ballistics, although different. In fact, when I'm loading 7.62, there's a lot of powders that cross over. What works well in a 30-30 cartridge also works well in 7.62 by 39. So that's a great cartridge for deer. I don't know if we can use suppressors for deer hunting up here. Not sure on that. I don't think you can, but how cool would that be to be shooting like the Krebs, my Arsenal. It's based on 107 FR that's been Krebified, and throw on I don't know, a Sandman or something, and go after him. I know what I'd like to hunt with, a 9x39. It's been a long time, but I have a video on the Krebs 9x39 AKs that he was building. And there's videos of me shooting it suppressed with the Liberty can on it. By far the quietest rifle round, bottleneck case rifle I've ever shot. By far. What you hear in that video is true to life. It's no louder, no softer than what you hear in that video, and all you hear is the bolt. I mean, incredible. And that bullet hits so hard. It's a necked up 7.62 by 39. It's just a bigger bullet. It sounds, when that bullet hits, it sounds like someone dropped a brick into mud. Just whack. Maybe the closest thing might be like a 45 Colt hitting something where you get that thwack, like hitting a deer, for instance. Yeah, God, there's just so much weight. Spetsnaz, they developed that round for house clearing. It just to take people off their feet, to take them down now. None of this, triple, quadruple tap on bad guys. I read and watch a lot on special forces stuff, and you hear them talk all the time that, in training, early on they're taught, double tap everybody, or to the body, one to the head kind of thing. And there's guys that'll say, I put 5 in everybody, because they keep coming. Especially in Somalia, some of the stuff when they're all goofed up on GAP. And so Spetsnaz kind of did the same thing. They went to this 9x39, and that round takes no prisoners, boy. CQB, holy moly. You would not want to get hit by one. There were a couple of times we had some ricochets where it hits, I don't know, something maybe solid in the ground, a rock, or went off a tree or whatever. I've never heard ricochets like these. It was like off into the I thought, oh man, I hope there's no farmer out in his field over there or something. We were shooting it with Krebs at my buddy Jake's house, and oh my God, just one of the coolest rounds ever. And I was gonna buy one, and then now with the Russian ammo ban, man, it'd be tough. It'd be tough. Krebs has a bunch put away, but I'm sure he wants a pretty penny too. I mean, it's worth what it's worth, you know. Just because you're buds with someone don't mean he's gonna. Yeah, sure, Chris. $200 a case. Take it. No, not gonna happen. Squeaky, I shoot tight groups easily out to 60 yards without hardly even trying. Yeah. So today I was shooting without a stabilizer on the bow, and I noticed that, you know, where you're moving a little bit. So I stopped by and grabbed my old stabilizer and going to put that on. So I'm sure that'll make a difference. It's a 6-inch. It's got about 2 ounces out at the end. I might go 8 inches, go to an 8-inch stabilizer, and I might want to put an offset rear one too. You know, back in my day, the only offset rear ones they had were the target bow ones. That the rear ones were 3 feet long, the front one was 5 feet long. Well, now they have offset ones that you can hang back and down, and that'll really keep that bow straight. If you shoot a bow, hold it out, and it'll always want to either drop back on you or whatever, and you adjust your stabilizer so that bow just sits, you know. And with the side rear ones, you can adjust it where it sits. You get nothing pulling your hand this way or that way or forward or back. That bow with an open grip or just your light index thumb grip, that bow just sits there. And they're really nice. I stayed away from stabilizers for a long time. I didn't want the extra weight, and I didn't want to go be walking through the woods and it's hanging up on everything. But today's bows, compared to what I was shooting, you know, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, and now, today's bows are so much shorter. You know, axle to axle, I think mine is 30 inches, but I looked at bows that were 28, and you know, so it might be 29. It's somewhere between 28 and 30, but even at 30, that's nothing compared to the old bows. You know, they had a foot on you at that point, and never failed. What, you know, walking through that thick stuff and everything, and getting it hung up and the strings and all that. It was all just such a pain. And today it's so easy. I've been looking at those saddle stands. If any of you are familiar with it, there's, instead of just hunting out of tree stands or ladder stands, there's a huge bunch of a movement basically where guys are going to these saddle stands, and essentially it's like having a lineman's rigger's belt on, where you step your legs through it, and there's kind of a saddle that goes across your ass, and you go up the tree with like a lineman's rope and these steps. And when you get up to where you want, you put a platform in, and when you push it down, it digs in the tree. There's a rope around it, and then you get up higher. You get on your platform, and you put that, I forget the actual name of it, but the riggers or climbers rope, you put it somewhere between your chin and your nose on the tree, and it connects into your belt, and you just stand on that platform and lean back into the rope, holds you there, with carabiners and all that. And there's other ones that attach in a safety line. And instead of sitting in a stand with your back to the tree, you're facing the tree. But you have a strong side, just like sitting in a tree stand with your back to the tree. If you're right-handed, your strong side is the left side. You always set your stand up so your strong side is facing where you think you're going to see the... Oh, by the way, look at that. Can you tell I've been shooting a bow? You always put your strong side to where the animal's going to hopefully be. So with these, you're facing the tree, but you're leaning back. So if you're right-handed, your strong side is still to the left. And if the nice thing is, in a regular tree stand, if that deer's off to the right and you're a right-hander, so you're holding the bow in your left, to move around and safely shoot to the right can be a little hard and a lot of movement. Well, with this, you can essentially put the bow in the other hand, swing around with your rope under your shoulder here, and now you can shoot perfectly to both sides with very little movement. People say, well, how is that comfortable? It's real easy. You can adjust your main rope higher or lower, so you're more of a sitting position to more of a standing position. You can even, there's another rope you can put on that goes to your carabiner, and you can kind of lean forward and watch. So you're continuously doing small adjustments to keep comfortable, and in watching these saddle hunters and how they adjust it, it almost seems like it may be more comfortable than sitting in regular ladder stand, let's say, or something like that. Not if you have one of these huge stands or two people ladder stands where there's all kinds of room to move around and padded seats and padded bars for gun rests and all this stuff. Well, igloo style, but feeling of these saddle stands, and trying to think where I did something similar, and where I was rigged into something, and for what reason I don't remember why, but I've had that feeling and been held in like that in different things before, and it was actually very comfortable. And I'm thinking about that, although I don't know how hard it will be to climb. There's these steps you put into, and it can all be packed in, super lightweight, all aluminum, very little rigging, and you set it all up to in the order you use it. You pull it out of a little bag, and it's pretty simple. They said after doing it 10, 15 times that the average guy can get up in their stand, set ready to go in about 6 minutes. You have a retractable line that's hooked to your rigging belt that you hook to your equipment, your bow and all, before you climb. And once you climb, you retract that. You bring your bow up and the line retracts in. They've got these, again, it's like a nylon, any rigging or chest rigs or anything are made out of nylon that you put around the tree, and you can hang your calls, your bow, your quiver. Everything's right there and super comfortable. The cool thing about it, think how cool that is for hunting public land where, you don't have the option of putting up a permanent tree stand, or even if you could or did, what if you walk out there and someone else is in your stand? It's public land. Or what if, because of hunting pressure or where other people are hunting, all of a sudden where you thought you were going to hunt is no good anymore, or the wind changed or whatever. Well, with this, you can climb any tree, essentially, as long as there's no real branches in the way, just a straight tree, whatever. And even then, I'm sure there's ways around it. I just haven't read or watched anything on it. But you can essentially pick out a tree and be just as good as a regular stand anytime you want, anywhere. Let's say you're hunting in the suburbs and you put a tree stand up, it attracts attention, right? Maybe neighbors, maybe it's legal to bow hunt there, but you don't want to bring that attention of the Karen up the street or something. And leaving a stand would do that. Well, with this, you're in and out, you leave nothing behind. You don't damage the tree. You're not screwing anything into the tree, and you're in and out. So I could see that in like suburban or more built up areas, public land, and then even on your own land, or like me now, where I'm not completely familiar with the new property, and maybe I get to where I'm going and, I can't hunt here. The wind's going this way. Well, with that, I can go anywhere I want. What if all of a sudden your game cameras, you're not seeing them, and they're all of a sudden you discover they're using this backfield or something. You don't have a stand set up. Take that saddle stuff. It's called, the main brand that I watched that looks the best is called Tethered. TETHERD, Tethered. And they make a whole line. Now this stuff ain't cheap. I mean, I guess there's 3, 4, 5 major components, and they ranged anywhere from $250 to $400. The platform alone was like $280 or something. And you got the belt, the safety lines, the climbing steps, and all this other stuff. It is not cheap, but buy it once and done. Kind of interesting. But I think it might be one of those things you want to try out before you put all that money out. So maybe somebody hunting with one, you can try it out and see what they think. How many deer are you going for this year? Okay, so I can take, so I can get up to $2, and they give me an extra doe permit with each one. I think they're free or like next to free, $5. I think it was $140 or $120. I can take $2, 2 does, and 2 turkeys, or 4 turkeys. $2, 2 does, 4 turkeys. It's like 8 animals for $120, and it might have been more. I'm trying to think if it was 6 deer maybe total. Dirt cheap. That being said, I'm going to take 1 deer off the property this year. That's it, at the most, if I take any. If I come across a young buck, by young buck, I don't necessarily mean antlers. I'm talking age. If I come across a 1, 2, 3-year-old, I'm not taking it. 4 at a minimum and up. Like I said, there's 1 or 2 deer right now, bucks, that I would take and be proud to take, where they've either matured enough or they've matured enough and the potential for bigger racks isn't there. Not to say they're small racks, just they're not going to be a 200-point deer. If they live to 9, they won't be a 200-point deer. I don't have a doe problem. You know, people talk about, you know, too many does and just everything gets out of whack. I don't have that problem, so I'm not going to take a doe. There's a couple, two to be exact, large bucks that either one I will take. And then there's a third buck. Actually, there's 2 more bucks. One is probably a 3-year-old, and the other one is maybe a 2-year-old. No, maybe like a year and a half. The one would be a 10-point deer, except the one side is just one long spike. But by long, I mean it's this tall, that spike on one side. The other side is 5 points. At first, I thought maybe he damaged it. Maybe he got hit by a car or something more traumatic that caused an injury to cause it to grow that way, I thought. So I thought, well, leave him till next year and he might have a nice rack. Then I saw a little one running around with the same thing. And I'm starting to think, maybe it's genetic. So if it is, I want to remove them from the herd because you don't want bad genetics going in. So if I can get a close look at him and it's not damaged, it's just the way it is, we'll probably remove him regardless. So if I saw one of those 2 shooter bucks or that deer that I think is possibly a genetic issue, I've never seen it or heard of it that way. I've seen deer with broken antlers, and maybe it is. Maybe I'm just not seeing it on the camera. But then when I saw this other one, there's a fork horn running around with a fork on one side and a long spike on the other, just like what I assume is Papa. So we'll see. And I'd remove him too if that was genetic. Because the longer they're around, the more does they can breed, right? And then you end up with cockeyed deer. But yeah, so basically there's, of all the bucks on the property, there's 4 that I would take. And maybe there's some that I haven't seen yet, but they would certainly have to be mature bucks. I'm not going out there hunting for meat. I'm not trying to fill 4 fridges and give away a bunch and go out and terrorize my deer herd. Not at all. I find now that I have, and I've always felt this way, but now in particular with this property, I enjoy the property management and doing things and learning about things to improve the quality of the wildlife on the property and all, as much as I do the hunting. Maybe a little more even, or they go hand in hand. I don't know. For some of you guys that maybe do that, you understand what I mean. But yeah, I really enjoy that. Like, this urge to just leave this property as is and just build up food plots and give those deer more and more reasons just to stay on my property and not be on the neighbors, and be able to have a solid food supply year round for a healthy herd and growing big animals and beautiful animals. I think all hunters feel that way. Those that don't hunt see it differently. Maybe they see us as these bloodthirsty killers that are just trying to jack up our ego, or something by look what I shot, the the local big buck contest. It was never about that. To me, I don't know. I enjoyed matching wits with an animal that's much smarter than I am in his environment, because it is their environment, not ours. Let me tell you. The more you watch, hunt, and deal with these animals, the more you learn that they're just laughing at you out there, and there's so much to learn. And there's so many studies being done today by big universities, some studying as many as 6,000 collared animals. It's pretty amazing. And to watch, like, the short time I've had cameras out there, I've got 2 videoed buck fights. They're not full-on fights. The rut is not even close to coming yet, and they're just kind of play sparring, but the one got pretty serious. It was between 2 a 3-year-old, maybe a 4-year-old, and the one had him down in the dirt, smashing his head down in the dirt and everything, and you can hear the clacking and all. That's pretty cool. When I finally pull the SD cards, these are cellular cameras, so they send the pictures and video right to my cell phone immediately. There's about a 30 to 50 second lag between what's happening on the ground and when it gets to my phone. It's amazing, actually. And it gets sent right to me, HD quality. I can do a photo, video. I get sound. I can hear the crickets and the wind blowing and everything. It's like I'm standing there. And the pictures are crystal clear, high definition. The video too. It's fabulous. But the more, where was I going with this? I don't know where I was going. The more I watch these animals, the more amazing it is, and the more you learn stuff that you thought might be true or old, or is nothing more than FUD lore, maybe, and other things that you thought, no way, absolutely amazing, Oh, we do have coyotes on the property. I think I may have said in our last live stream that we had a fox on the property. I thought it was a fox. I downloaded the HD version of it, and it's a coyote. So we got coyotes on the property. And if I saw one, there's 10. You know how that goes, right? And this one walked right through this. It's a big scrape that they're all using, and there's a branch above that they're all leaving their scent on. And the area the bucks are bedding in, This is on the edge of it. They go further into their bedding area because bucks bed in different areas than the does and the fawns. They don't bed together. The does and fawns, you can tell there'll be a bed and a bed right next to each other. With bucks, there may be a few to several beds together, but there'll be separation between them. And they're further back in thicker stuff. Always are. You guys want to know where to find bucks? You ever go out opening day, or you've been seeing deer all season, all summer, late fall, cameras are driving, you're seeing them, and all of a sudden opening morning comes and there ain't a deer to be found? We've all experienced that, right? You want to know where to find those bucks, where they are? And it doesn't have to be during gun season or opening day. But maybe you just see bucks at night, right? Crossing the road, crossing the field, whatever. You want to see them, you go back in the thicker stuff. If they have a choice between mature forest, by that I mean where the forest floor is not littered with scrub and undergrowth, like when they clear cut, and as things come back, you've got a lot of undergrowth and small, prickly, thick stuff that you got to work through. That's typically in woodlots that have been cut fairly recently. By fairly recently, I mean could be 4 or 5 years ago, select cut, or could be 10 or 15 years from when they really went in there and cleaned stuff out. And you've got some trees that are bigger already, but you can't see through the woods. It's not like big tree, 20 yards, big tree, 10 yards, big tree, and there's room in between. Those bucks are in cover where there's undergrowth, there's willow and buckthorn and all this crap, and they get in the middle of it. They get in the middle of it. If they have a close food source and they have water close, that buck may only move 100 yards during the day or all day. He may never leave that thicket if other than maybe to squirt out to an ag field and grab some food and squirt back in. And that's where they're at. They're in the thicker stuff. They love that cover, especially stuff that's been logged out within the last 15 years, let's say, and maybe there's some piled up brush. They'll always put their back into that and be watching the other way. So they're covered from the back, and then they see everything out in front of them. Stuff where they can see out, but you can't see in. And the average, most 99% of the hunters aren't going and dragging their ass into that stuff. At best, maybe if somebody puts together a family drive or something and they push through that, they'll squirt out the sides or something. But that's the stuff they're in. That's why you're not seeing them. They don't disappear. They may be right under your nose, but you're not going in there to get them. And younger bucks will act like does, fawns, because that's all they've seen is their mother. What do the does do? The minute they see a fling, you just see that white tail, right? And they're running for the bejesus, and they're in and out and gone. Where bigger bucks will run, but not that crazy frantic run. They'll run, they'll get a distance on you, they'll stop and assess, right? They don't do that frantic thing. Well, these big bucks, same thing. You could be right near them. They'll hold tight. They're like pheasants. Pheasants, you're walking a hedgerow, or you got you and a buddy on each side of a fence, and you stop for a minute and you're talking, and maybe you have a smoke. This happened to me. Me and Scradlip, we were in our teens. We're pheasant hunting, and we're going down a fence row. He's on one side, I'm on another. We get to the end where the fence ends, and we had 2 German short-hair puppies, my puppies, with us, and they're running around all around our feet, just playing. They weren't trained yet. We were just getting them out there. And the one is just digging in this hedgerow against the fence, just digging, sticking his nose in there, going crazy, crying. We're like, get out of here. I even used my foot and kicked him aside, pushed him aside. Get the hell out of here. We're having a smoke. I just about done with my smoke, and I kid you not, we're facing each other like this across the fence. And right between us, boof, a huge cock pheasant flies up. And we had been standing 6 inches from him for 5 minutes, and he never moved till finally he had enough and he couldn't hold anymore. He took off. And of course, our guns were set down, leaning on the fence and everything. Oh, there he goes. Beautiful 2.5 foot long tail feathers, wild birds. Yeah. And that's what bucks will do. They don't get dumber. If a buck makes it through gun season, there's a 90% average he will be there the following year. Very rare that they get hit by cars, taken out some other way. 90% chance if a buck gets through gun season, he's there the next year. And they learn. They get very, very, very smart. They learn all about you. They know more about you than you'll ever know. But you want to find bucks and you don't see them, get in the heaviest stuff. Set up on the edge of it, as close to food as possible, and hunt all day. Don't break for lunch. Don't get tired and I'm going to go check something else out. If you know they're in this heavy cover, stay there the whole day. They may they may just be completely nocturnal to begin with, but there may be times, especially with a lot of hunting pressure, gun season, etc., where they'll take that chance and they'll squirt out to get some food. And if you're not there, you're not going to see them because they're going to change their patterns. Sometimes they might not move for 3 or 4 days. They might, forego food, but they're not going to forego water. That's for sure. So if you can put in the time, while it's no guarantee, you'll have a better shot. I've seen that time and time again. And it started just like that. We were hunting, and an old girlfriend was there. Me and my dad were hunting, and came in. What'd you guys do? Did you see any? I said, it's unbelievable. Yesterday, there were 20 deer at the feeder, and there were 10, and there was a buck up the road I saw, and this and that. Nothing. Not a goddamn thing. Zero. Not a fawn. Nothing. And she used to do this baby talk thing. It was hilarious. It was like a cartoon. And our neighbor, let's just say his name was Haas. And she says, I know where all the deer are. They're hiding from you. They're all in Mr. Haas's garage. And I thought, yeah, they probably are, because she didn't, while she didn't voice a big opinion, I don't want you hunting or nothing like that. She just, in her heart of hearts, hoped that we were unsuccessful, let's just say. But yeah, like a lot of women can be, but that was funny. And back then I remember thinking, yeah, maybe they are. You've always heard stories of how during gun season, there'd be a few smart bucks. Someone would see one, sneak in between maybe them and a neighbor's property, get behind their barn and lay down, and they'd watch it just sitting there. And the thing sat there for 2-3 days. He knew around the house it was safe, They're not stupid. They go where they know the pressure isn't and where your average hunter is not going to go. It's amazing when you actually take the time to sit back, observe, watch, just get out in the woods, I like being out in the woods just as much, learning, looking for sign, watching, as I do hunting. Maybe more so the older I get. I don't know. Let's see what you guys have to say here. All right, Squeaky was talking about his crossbow here, 60 yards hitting. He said, I don't think I would attempt to shoot a deer with it at longer distance because the crossbow makes a big more noise once you release the bolt. Yeah, there's so much power in those things. I don't know. I never shot one enough to really take notice. I guess I did notice they're a bit louder, but I didn't think that much. I don't know. And those bolts don't seem to be affected by wind as much as an arrow does, and they're moving at higher speeds. but the bolts are typically quite a bit shorter than regular bow arrows. So yeah, Archeo, to answer your question, at the most, I'm going to take one deer. That is it. We want to make it, I want to improve the wildlife situation. I want to improve the food plots, the cover, the bedding areas, everything. I just want to make it a wildlife wonderland. You know, I got grandkids coming one of these days, and I want them to just have an amazing place to spend time with me, their parents, my wife, and just see things that not enough kids get to see these days, I guess. And there's something nice about being able to sit on your porch in your rocking chair with a cup of coffee on a brisk morning and watch the turkeys and the deer go by. I told you about the turkeys today, right? Ton of them out there. Been a while since I shot a compound bow. Got to get back into that one day. I always enjoyed shooting them. Yeah, the better these bows get, the more I enjoy. I could still pull back that 70-pound bow, no problem. I did set it at 60 because I knew I'd be shooting a lot, and I didn't want to be sore and then have to go hunt on the weekend and be all sore and risk pulling back and being, oh God, and and have something go wrong when I need it to go right. So shooting it this week at 60. I may take it right to 70 or maybe 65, but I can hunt at 60, no problem. I mean, God, I've hunted deer with 40-pound bows. Matter of fact, that was kind of the norm, But yeah, that's 60. The thing's pretty damn fast. At 70 pounds and a 29-inch draw, the thing's hitting like 300 and lighter arrows. The tendency I've been reading is these heavy arrows, in my opinion, might as well be shooting broomsticks. But just standard arrows that I shoot. Matter of fact, they're lighter than I used to shoot, actually. But 100-gram heads. They advertised 339 on the bow, but a 29-inch draw on these arrows, they're probably 305 to 310. I'll run it through the chrono this week sometime, but I guarantee I'm just over 300 a tad. That's moving out, and on a crossbow, on a regular bow, let me tell you. Just mount 4 large 20-foot long posts in the ground and put an old full-size camper on them and hunt out of that. So you've seen that too. There's deer hunters and farmers are just amazingly resourceful, aren't they? Or was it Duck Dynasty that they put an old camper up on some posts or something? Duck Dynasty, I think, did that. It's hilarious. Our property has too many does. It's been crazy the past few years. Plan is to pull out 8 to 10 does between the family. I would like 3 myself to stuff the freezer. Yeah, you get too many does and it screws everything up. And that's kind of what I was so used to seeing, like 10 does for every buck it seemed you see, or more. You'd never see bucks, and there'd be does and fawns everywhere. It screws it up. I've seen guys doing hunts to bring them back in the line, and that's why there's so many states that give you all these doe permits. I watched a guy the other day I'm not kidding you, knocked down, killed 5 does in 5 or 6 minutes. Just poink, and the one would take off. The others all be looking around like, huh? What is going on? And poink, there goes another one. They have 5 does, I think, between like 6 guys. I don't know. It was a lot of acres. I think they took 30 or 40 deer off this thing, all does, 1 or 2 bucks, just to bring things back in the line because things get all out of whack. So yeah, by all means, it's that crazy, take them out. Your herd will get better. You'll get more bucks. Everything. There's these land consultants now that consult for hunting in this, and there's a ton of crock pots out there. So don't just go giving your money to anybody. These guys don't know any more than you do. They just sound like they do. Find a good one, and there's a couple really good ones. I don't know how much they are. I never looked into it, but I gotta think it's not cheap. I bet it's more than a couple grand and less than 10 grand. How's that sound? But if you've got a property, 100 acres, 70 acres, 100 feet of farm, whatever, and things aren't like you'd like it to be, that'd be good money spent. I got a feeling. I've watched kind of some of the consultations and what they recommend and how it works out, and it's amazing. They just see things differently than you may, and if you follow what they say, it all makes sense. But there's a lot of crackpots out there that have no business consulting either. And we were taught to always save some for seed. What do you mean? Save bucks, you mean? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I never hunted with people that were like, let's go kill everything out there. Anything walks, we shoot it. You know, these guys bringing back bump bucks and spike bucks and this and that. And I get it. Especially you got a kid hunting, it's their first deer or something. Or you want to fill the freezer and it's the only deer you've seen. That's fine. But I'm at the point where my wife doesn't care for venison. She won't cook it for me. Her grandmother would all the time, but I'll cook it and backstraps, and I enjoy all that, you know. But one deer is enough for me. You got to remember, shooting a deer is the easy part. Then there's the work, you know, and it's a lot of work. It's a pain in the ass. It really is at the end of the day, especially if you're going to butcher it yourself, you know. While it's not hard, it's just tedious, a pain in the ass, nasty, dirty job. But whatever. But yeah, there were a lot of, I knew guys that, man, they'd do family drives and anything that walked was hitting the ground. And it was crazy. Yeah, I often wondered how they had any deer the next year, you know. Yeah, 10, 15 of them on the post, you know. Hey, now, what did I miss? Oh, just a lot about deer hunting and bow hunting. Bows, crossbows in specific. A little bit of talk about what I'm going to hunt with. I'm not even that looking forward to rifle season. I'm really looking forward to bow season. But I do enjoy hunting with my lever actions. And if I do, you know, if I can get this other stand up in time, I don't know if I can, because I want to do a up on the tripod thing. And I just, with all the money going out, I can't really afford to buy it now unless I build it maybe. But if I hunt my grassy knoll overlooking the back 20 acres there, then I might want to, then I'll enjoy it. I can put my little heater buddy up there and bring a bolt gun or something and do some, be nice to do some, you know, long distance deer hunting, like let's say over 100 yards instead of under 30 yards, which it is 90% of my life. It'll be fun to really get a nice shot on a deer with a scoped bolt rifle or something, or AR-10 would be cool, something, I don't know. So we'll see. I will say this, Rock, with you moving further north, you can hang your deer longer. I firmly believe in that, and I'm assuming you do too. So there's a lot of different, everybody's got an opinion when it comes to everything from gutting a deer to hanging it to do you leave the hide on or off? There's those guys, oh, you got to cool the meat down, right away, cool it down, you know. Or these other guys that think, oh my God, what do you mean you're leaving it in the garage for 5 days? They don't understand. I've always been a foodie, and I love good steaks, good beef, anything. And the best beef in the world that I've ever had and have had and look for is dry aged beef. I assume a lot of you know about that, but a lot may not. Dry aging is a process where you hang the meat essentially, and it doesn't need to be the deep freeze or even a super cold walk-in fridge or something. I think the safe temperature, God, I just had it the other day. I have a bunch of notes on it. If it's in that 45-degree range, but even as warm as maybe 60, if it's in the shade and it's not humid out, and you can keep it in a cool garage, barn, shed, you can dry age, just hang that carcass for anywhere from 2 to 4 or 5 days. And what happens is there's an enzyme in the meat that starts to break it down and makes it super tender. Your most expensive beef in the world. And I know some of you say, oh, Wagyu, Wagyu. My opinion, Wagyu is a bunch of bullshit because it's been so normalized or spread out, and it's not even true Wagyu. There's one cow in a 10,000 cow herd that was Wagyu imported by the emperors, whatever, and they call it Wagyu beef. They're full of shit. The longer you can hang it in the right conditions, the more these enzymes break it down and the better it gets. Some will say leave the hide on. Some will say take it off. I say take it off. In my opinion, 45 to 50 degrees is more than safe, as long as it's out of the sun in a dark garage, barn, shed. Let it hang for 3 days and then butcher it. Fabulous, fabulous, fabulous. And it won't spoil. Obviously, you can't let bugs get to it or flies or anything, but hopefully they're gone. You've had a frost or something like that. And 10 times better beef. Some guys say leave the hide on or it'll dry out too much. In my opinion, you run other risks and maybe even health risks leaving the hide on. In that case, too, you do want to cool it quicker. You don't want to leave a deer lay not dressed. You want to get to them, dress them as quick as possible. But by cooling it down, I'm not talking about there's guys that'll put ice in them and pack snow in them and all this craziness. You just want to get the insides out of it, prop open that chest cavity and let the air get to it. It cools out fast enough and it's fine. But I prefer skin off, 3 to 5 days in that 45, 48 range, man. That would be perfect. And you can go warmer, you can go cooler. You just be smart about it. That's all. Read a little bit about it, and you'll have the best venison you ever had. There'll be no, you won't be making beef sticks out of it. Put it that way. Let's see. Squeaky says you never take more than you need. Absolutely right. If you're doing something to help the herd is one thing. And even then, you're going to either use the meat yourself or you're going to donate it to a family that needs it or an organization that needs it. Let's see. We're gearing up for the deer. Oh, you're answering Hattori. Yes, sir. I will say this, Rock. With you. I was always taught above freezing, below 50. Yeah, that's just what I said. Skin off for 5 to 6 days till it's purple. And boy, does it taste great. Yeah, it gets darker. You'll see the meat get darker, darker, darker. Like what would you say, Archie? Like dark burgundy to purple black almost. Find a butcher that has it. Go look in his case. It wasn't long ago. I was downtown Chicago, and there was this place, and they had dry aged beef, and they had these tomahawk ribeyes, and they were like you said, purple, man, and they look dry, but they're not. It's fabulous. You've never had anything like it. It is the most delicious beef you've ever had. It's how beef was, or venison, elk, or whatever. It's how it was meant to be eaten. God made things for us to use before the advent of refrigeration. And those natural enzymes break it down and make it so like mouth-watering tender. Incredible. So yeah, if you have the temperatures to do it, a little hard to do that stuff down in maybe Georgia, Texas, stuff like that. But up in the north, not too hard. Most seasons for me in the Northwoods were snow, frozen rain, freezing ass cold. I've had some low seasons in Michigan, particularly early 90s, when beginning of bow season was so warm, I was getting eaten alive by mosquitoes. I could not sit in my stand. It was so bad. Got up there, went out opening morning. I was okay. I didn't stay out that long that morning. That night I went out and I was wearing plus BDUs, woodland camo, Vietnam era stuff, pants, shirt, t-shirt under it, and a boonie hat, and my hunting boots. And no gloves, nothing. No bug repellent or anything because the smell. Face paint on the whole 9 yards. And they started not just buzzing my ears, but biting me in the ears, behind, going up my nose. I breathe them in. My forehead was covered in bites, my cheeks, my face, my neck, my hands. It was so bad. It drive you insane. Like, drive you insane. There were so many. I didn't even make it to dusk. I got out of the tree. I couldn't take it anymore. I went to town. I was staying in a hotel, but I think my old boss told me to come stay at his place, and I did. But went home, changed, showered up, and went to town to get some dinner. And I'm sitting eating dinner thinking, how am I going to hunt? I took a week's vacation to go back to my college town to hunt deer outside of Big Rapids, Michigan, because I knew the area. I had been hunting it for 6 years straight. Yeah, 6-year college career at Ferris State University. But I knew every inch of the state forest there. And I had hunted it morning, noon, and night for years on end. That's all I did was bow hunt. And I was going back. I was going to have a week straight, no school as usual. It was my first job, my first vacation. I was going back a week straight in the woods, and I was going to have a blast. And I thought, man, my vacation's ruined. I can't take this. I hate mosquitoes. And thinking, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And then I don't know why I didn't think of a ding, ding, ding. Oh, a head net. I got to get a head net. And I'll just, wear heavier gloves or something, or any kind of gloves, keep them off me that maybe they can't reach through. I went around town looking for a head net, right? You think you could find one? We had a couple sporting goods stores, but they weren't like hunting stores. There was a Kmart. Walmart didn't exist yet. And I searched and searched and searched and searched. And finally, I think Kmart, I forget what that cheapy camping brand is. They make the weird stuff like the egg holders to go camping and the soap dish thing and that kind of garbage crap for hunting. I found a head net like on the back. I'm like, oh, thank you, God. I went out, I tied that thing around my head, and I had these thin gloves that were in my car. I think they were my mother's. They were some kind of, I forget the name of those gloves in the 70s. They were stretch gloves. Isotoners. Remember those things? There was a set of those way too small for me, but I stretched them on. And that way I could feel the bow. Everything was fine. And I did the collar tight on the jacket, on the field jacket, and bloused my pants so nothing could fly up them, and sat out there. And it was better being hot than it was getting eaten alive. But it still drove you nuts, just the buzzing near your ears. But I was able to hunt. And I ended up getting like, I got an okay buck, just an average buck that year on the fourth day. And I was happy when it was over because then I could relax and have a little good time in town drinking with the college kids and stuff. But man, it was terrible. I would rather sit in a stand and freeze than sit out there with mosquitoes. Holy cow. Nowadays, you got stuff like those little Ferrocell things you can clip on. It gives you a zone around you. I don't know if a deer would smell those, if they have any scent to them or not. I don't know. But those might be good. Yeah, if you guys can hang your deer, hang your deer. It's by far the best way to do it. Whether you're going to butcher it yourself or then take it in. But yeah, what a great way to go. But it's exciting, guys. It's so exciting to get out there, see work being done. Got deer on the cameras, got the bow set up going. Let me show you one thing. I'm going to do a video on it, but I'm not going to show you the bow. Just relax, YouTube. Although it's probably legal, I'm sure it is. But this is just a piece of, this is the stabilizer. It's called a bee stinger. It's all carbon fiber, adjustable weight system at the front. So there's 3 different weights. This is just a rubber dampener here, and 6-inch. I think it feels like, I don't know, maybe about 6 ounces. It'll do. This will be perfect. This will be perfect. And I wanted the more distance. I was gonna, my other bows, I got some of the short rubber ones, but they don't put the weight far enough out. They do more a dampening job than a stabilizing job. And if this isn't enough, I'll go to, there's another one, an 8-incher with a little more weight. But I think this should be about perfect. And God, that bow's quiet. Oh my God. Can't even believe it. Bear put slim stabilizers on it from the factory. There's a bowstring dampener. It's a rod comes out from the bow with a big pad on the end that the string hits. Although I'm having problems with that moving. You'll see what's up. I don't know if it's the rubber on the end slipping or the rod turning. I don't think the rod's turning, but might have to put a little stickum in there to keep it from rotating. But this should do about perfect. Probably end up going with an 8-inch eventually with the back one coming off as well. But hopefully this does it all for right now. And we are good to go. Just got to pick out the broadheads, man. There's these, I like these Rage. I think they're Hypodermics is one. And then I saw another brand, rear deploying mechanicals. If I can find a big enough fixed broadhead that'll cut at least 1.5 inches, maybe a little bigger, I may shoot with that. I don't have to worry about planing or anything much because the shots I'm going to be taking in these stands, max would be 20 yards, but most will be 5 to 10 yards at the most. Very tight quarters, heavy cover, heavy. Gotta get in where them boys are hanging out. They ain't hanging out in big open fields. I promise you that. Any deer worth its salt. Anyhow, let it in the comments here later or on one of our newer videos, the one that came out. I'm putting it together right after I get off here. You can see the road going in. We're going to talk about kind of basics and recommendations of what to put in on a new road / driveway, depending on the kind of traffic and weight you expect on it, what's under it, whether it's clay or sand, and kind of give you a little rundown on what's recommended to get a solid base in there so it's not sinking and all that. And don't you need the fabric under it and all that good stuff. Just kind of what I've learned in researching and talking to the excavators and these guys that know. I've gotten kind of tight with the guy that's doing my drive. He's a good guy. He deer hunts. I think he'd like an invitation to hunt out here, but I don't know my own property yet, and I haven't had the opportunity to go out and enjoy it myself. So we can definitely be friends. He's just a good guy, and his wife's hysterical. My wife would love her, but I'm just getting going here. So yeah, we'll go over the road basics, how it's going to be, and bringing in the electric and kind of some of the pitfalls you may come across doing that. The reality of what it costs, and ways you can try to save money. Although I tried, and this electric company I'm dealing with here in Wisconsin just let's just say they got every angle covered to keep you from saving money by doing the work yourself. You just can't. They either won't allow it, or the way they price it, you're not getting ahead by doing it yourself. Just even, for instance, running the electric from the transformer by the house to the barn, they're telling me I got to be within 375 feet of the transformer, or the voltage drop is too great. And we were just going to run it close to the house, the transformer, and then not have them do any more other than get it to the house. And we were going to run, 500, 600 feet to the barn and trench it and do it ourselves to save that money. And that's when they told us about the voltage drop, and it's got to be within 375 feet. And then by the time we do it versus what they charge, it's going to be the same money anyways. So, just some kind of pitfalls to watch out for if you're planning something where you got to go further back than usual for privacy, for topography, whatever. But to kind of give you a little heads up on how much that can affect the cost of your build, let's say. I could build, for what I'm paying for the drive and the electric, I could build a 60 by 100 fully decked out, insulated metal walls, electric run, mezzanine, windows, all the extra options for everything for what I'm paying just for the drive and bringing the electric back. I'm going to guess the two of them, just the drive and the electric, are going to be $100,000. So take that for what it's worth. That's more than my first house. But trust me when I tell you, we've looked at all kinds of things, and I can't do it any cheaper. There was, and we'll touch on this in the video, but there's this stuff called Permazyme. Michigan, the state of Michigan is actually using it on some back roads where they have gravel and it's just washing out. They're constantly repairing it, all kinds of stuff. And it's a spray. They spray it on the road. It's an enzyme. They found out it was in hog feed or something, and where the hogs fed, the ground got hard like cement. Causes the gravel and sand and dirt to turn into cement. And you don't need to grade it or do any maintenance basically after you put this on. And my wife wanted to do it like crazy and save money that way, but I didn't want a driveway that just looked like dirt. Something about a farm lane or drive in that gravel, that crisp white or yellow going back to the house. Might be a decent thing afterwards. We got to put 2 culverts in that we weren't planning on. Different stuff. So hopefully there's a few areas where we save money and we can make up for this overrun up front here and continue to save, because there's a slush fund there for such overruns. But I sure would like to have that left over at the end of this build. But somehow I got a feeling that may go and then some. So who knows? But we'll see. And you're going to come along for the ride. So you'll see a video on the bow, and then back to firearms. I'm sure you guys have had enough of the homesteading thing and the deer hunting thing for a while. So we will get back to what we do best, and that's firearms. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm so excited just to get out there and sit in the stand, whether I shoot something or not, and about managing this property and making it better and all that good stuff, and seeing our family home come up. It's going to be gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. Can't wait. And I hope my wife's just as happy because she deserves it. But yeah, it's fun. We argue and we do our thing. That's just how we are. But at the end of the day, what do I need? I need a garage and a place to put my junk. And, you know, she likes all that stuff. So it'll be good. She'll enjoy it. And good place for family and kids to come and enjoy too. So it's for them, right? At the end of the day, doesn't matter. What do? They find us wobbling around the garage, putzing, as my mother would say. Putzing. I like putzing. So get a lot of putzing done this week. And whether you're putzing with your firearms, your bow, little hunting, whatever, the car, guy stuff, go do a little putzing, have some fun. Thanks, guys, for coming and checking in. And I hope you enjoyed it. Something a little different. And yeah, I'm happy you're here. And I hope you enjoy this as much as we do. Thanks for helping out the channel. Anything you can, super chats, that kind of thing. We appreciate it. And there's lots more to come. So keep coming back every Wednesday night, 8 o'clock Central. And then watch for our video tonight, tomorrow, somewhere in there. We'll have another one drop. Enjoy and have a great week. And remember, go out and change somebody's life. Kids shooting, take them to the range. Take someone that might have a different opinion or maybe be a little scared or just doesn't know enough and afraid to ask. Introduce them to what we find so fun. And you might just change their entire life. You never know. So, again, thank you. And as always, Rockford Ordnance out. Have a good night, guys and gals. Good night, sirs. You too, Ross, Arkeo. Have a great night. Joe, if you're here, good night. Tori, thanks for stopping in. Squeaky, as usual. I gotta say hi to my bros and broettes. Who else? Squeaky. Who else is in here? I think Joe fell asleep or he's watching his movie. That's okay. Joe deserves it. Joe's a good man. Ross, again, if I didn't mention Orion, thank you. And who else? There was one more. Chase. Didn't hear from Chase later in it, but thanks, everyone. Glad to have you guys, regulars and new. Guys, mention the stream to your friends. Get them in here next Wednesday. Talk to you soon. Thanks. Join the FPC so you can have fun with your braced toys. Talk to you soon. Good night.